Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down chapter 1150, The Demon Kings of Elbaph. And Robin, I'm just gonna say it. Oda did not have to do our boys from Little Garden like that.
He did not. This was a hard chapter to read, Franky. Seeing Brogy raise his hand against Emu, a moment of pure giant defiance, only to have it blown clean off by a magic shotgun.
And that wasn't even the worst part. That was the appetizer to the most horrifying main course I've seen in this series. It's chapters like this that make you want to call up your friends and just scream about it for an hour. If you've got a crewmate who needs to process this one with us every week, make sure they're following the feed so they don't miss an episode. Okay, let's get into it because it starts bad and only gets worse.
It really does. The chapter opens right in the chaos, with the parents of the kidnapped children finally arriving on the scene. They see the kids, but Cologne, one of the giants, is yelling at them, telling them Gabon fell into the underworld.
Which, by the way, we still don't know what that means. The underworld. Is it an actual place, a pit, a different dimension? We just know Gabon, a certified legend of the Roger Pirates, is gone. And Cologne screams a warning, right? To watch out for Gunko.
The name is interesting, Gunko. It doesn't sound like a name from the common tongue. It could be an old giant word, or perhaps a title we're not familiar with. The tragedy is that he's trying to warn them about the most dangerous person in the world, and they don't even know who to look for. They're scanning the battlefield for some new monstrous general, not realizing the threat is the quiet, childlike figure standing right there.
Exactly. They're looking for a monster, but the monster is wearing the skin of a friend, and that confusion is immediately weaponized. One of the parents, a father, just breaks ranks. He can't help it. He sees his kid and he runs, and in an instant, he's impaled on a spray of black thorns that erupt from the ground.
That has to be Sommers, the Gorosile with the tusks. We saw him take that massive hit from Gabon before they both fell, but it seems he's already recovering. It's our first clue that these beings are not normal. They can take catastrophic damage and keep fighting. The thorns themselves are so vicious. It's not a clean wound. It's meant to ensnare and torture.
And the parent's scream is what draws Emu's attention. Before this, Emu was just observing, taking it all in. But that scream of a parent in pain, it's like it flipped a switch. This is where it really starts. Emu doesn't even look directly at them. They just unleash a wave. It's not a glance. It's not a focused burst of Conqueror's Haki. It's a sonic boom of Supreme King Haki.
We have to break this down because it's on a scale we haven't seen. It instantly knocks out all of the human-sized parents and every single one of the children. But more than that, it knocks out some of the giant warriors. Franky, think about the sheer force required to knock out a giant with ambient, unfocused Haki.
We saw what Shanks did to Green Bull's crew from miles away, and that felt like the peak. That was a scalpel. He targeted specific people and sent a jolt of lightning through their heads. This was a tactical nuke. It's an erasure of consciousness in a huge radius. There's no crackle of lightning, no visual effect other than people just dropping, like their souls were unplugged from their bodies. It's a statement of absolute, effortless dominance.
But not all of them go down. That's incredibly important. Some of the giants, the more seasoned warriors, they stumble, they clutch their heads. They're clearly in agony, but they remain standing. It shows there's a limit, or at least a threshold to Emu's cower. It's not completely absolute. It tells us that a sufficiently strong will, a sufficiently powerful Haki can resist it. It's the faintest glimmer of hope in a chapter that has almost none.
A very, very faint glimmer, because what comes next feels like it's completely absolute. While the giants are reeling from that psychic blast, Emu just transforms. There's no smoke, no poof. Devil wings just sprout from his back. A long pointed tail unfurls, and he's suddenly holding a trident. This isn't the shadowy figure from the throne room anymore. This is a full-on demon lord reveal. It's the kind of thing you'd see on an ancient tapestry depicting the end of the world.
And the design is so deliberate. Wings, a tail, a trident. It's a classical demonic archetype. It feels older than devil fruits. This feels like the source material. And then they do something that completely breaks the power system as we know it. They draw a magic circle in the air with their finger. A literal, glowing, intricate magic circle. And from that circle, cannons just materialize. They phase into existence and immediately start blasting the giants with explosive shells.
What is that? Seriously, what are we looking at? Is that a devil fruit? Is that some kind of advanced Haki we've never seen? It doesn't feel like either. It feels like something else entirely. We've had 1150 chapters of Haki, devil fruits, and Vegapunk science. This is a fourth category. This is just magic.
It has to be. We've seen abilities that bend the rules, like with Hawkins' cards or Apu's music, but this is straight up summoning, conjuring. It feels ancient, like the source of the world's strangest powers. It's reminiscent of the summoning circle the Gorosei themselves used to appear on Egghead. This confirms that wasn't a one-time trick. It's an established system of power that the highest echelons of the world government can use. It makes you wonder what the true origin of devil fruits are. Are they just lesser, fragmented pieces of this original, pure magic?
And while this is happening, while cannons are appearing from nothing and blasting these legendary warriors, Imu is just casually talking to Killingham, the Gorosei with the long nose, like it's nothing. They ask him if the nightmare soldiers he summoned are at their limit.
And Killingham's answer is one of the most terrifying things in the chapter. He bows and says, "Not at all, my lord. The nightmare hole they emerged from is still open. So long as there is fear on this island, they can manifest from every nightmare. They have no concept of death, so I can simply revive them endlessly."
They're a self-replenishing, infinite army of horror movie monsters. You can't beat that. You can't win a war of attrition against an enemy that literally cannot be attrited. We've seen zombie armies with Moria, but he needed bodies and shadows. We've seen biscuit armies with Cracker, but he had a stamina limit. This is different. This is a weaponized concept. It's a perfect weapon for the world government. No soldiers to feed, no families to write letters to, no ships to build, just nightmares.
Just an inexhaustible tide of terror. It's a truly chilling concept. It means the stronger and more terrifying the battle becomes, the more powerful Killingham's army gets. It feeds on the very chaos it creates. It's a feedback loop of terror.
While that's happening, Imu contacts Sommers, who's apparently putting himself back together. The dude is in pain. You can see him regenerating from whatever Gaban did to him, and Imu just tells him to stop fighting and watch the children. Forget the battle. Just guard the hostages.
And Jinbe's there. He's been fighting off the nightmares, protecting the kids, and he's watching all of this. He looks over at Gunko, or rather the being we know is Imu, and he says that he seems different. He can sense it, that the person inside Gunko isn't the man he knew.
The ultimate helmsman, man. His senses are sharp. It's not just about reading the waves in the wind. He can read the flow of life itself. He knows something is fundamentally wrong. He knows him, and he knows that the person standing there is an imposter. This confirms it's not just a disguise. It's a body snatching of some kind.
This is where I can't stand it anymore. I'm still chained up, watching this nightmare unfold. I see the demonic transformation, the infinite army, the possession of an old ally. And I ask the question we're all screaming at the page. Where is Luffy?
And the answer is the worst possible one. We cut to a panel showing a massive cavern deep underground. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji and the new giant warrior pirates are all still down there, completely oblivious. They have no idea any of this is happening on the surface.
The cavalry isn't coming. The monster trio is off the board. The strongest fighters they have are completely out of the loop, engaged in what now feels like a side quest, while the main story is turning into a horror film. And that's the moment I realize waiting is not an option.
Hell no, it's not.
The thought of being captured again, of being used as a pawn to get to the final poneglyph, it's not an option. Not after Eni's lobby, not after Ohara. I start trying to use my powers, sprouting hands from my own body to try and break the sea stone cuffs. It seems like a better alternative than whatever Emu has planned for us.
That's our Robin, never the damsel, always the revolutionary. And it's a super good thing too, because Emu's plan is taking a very, very dark turn. They're looking at the giants, at the chaos, and they're pondering how to use the kids as hostages. But then they realize a problem.
Elbaph has no king. You can't control a country by capturing a royal family that doesn't exist. Elbaph's strength is its decentralized, honor-based warrior society, so Emu decides to make a king.
We'll make Dorry and Brogy the new kings. Just decides it, on the spot, like they're picking out new furniture. The sheer, unbelievable arrogance is off the charts. And Brogy, our boy, the red ogre, is not having it. He's seen enough. He roars and he just straight up grabs Emu, reaches out his giant hand and snatches the king of the world right out of the air.
The courage in that moment. To see this demonic being of immense power who just knocked out half your comrades with a thought and summoned cannons from thin air and decide the correct course of action is to put your hands on them. That is the heart of a giant warrior. It's the same spirit Luffy has. See the problem? Punch the problem.
Yes, that's the Elbaph spirit we know and love. For one glorious panel, it feels like there's a chance. But Emu is completely unfazed. Doesn't even flinch. They're just dangling there in Brogy's massive grip, looking bored. They look at Brogy, then at the other giants who are charging to back their captain up, and they calmly lay out the plan.
I will kill Ja Rule. Just says it, matter-of-factly. He is the old symbol. And then I will announce to everyone that you two are the new kings, empowered by me. It's not a negotiation. It's a statement of fact. It's psychological warfare. They're not just trying to conquer them. They're trying to break their spirit first.
And then it happens. The moment that I think broke me. Emu summons a grimoire, a literal evil-looking spell book bound in what looks like skin, covered in arcane symbols. It just floats in the air in front of them, and from the pages of the book, they conjure a shotgun. A shotgun, Robin. A modern pump-action shotgun.
The anachronism is so jarring and so deliberate. Ancient magic, a modern weapon. It's so unsettling because it defies categorization. It implies that this power is not limited to one theme. It can create whatever it needs. And they just point it at Brogy's wrist and fire. And it blows his hand, the one holding Emu, clean off.
But there's no blood. Oda makes a point of showing us no blood. There's no gore, no spray, the hand is gone, and the stump of his wrist is just sealed. A clean, cauterized, unnatural wound. It's wrong on a fundamental level. It's not an injury, it's an act of uncreation.
It tells you this isn't a normal power. It's not just a weapon. This is something that operates on a different set of rules from the rest of the world. It doesn't obey biology or physics. It's rewriting reality. And then Emu, now free, floats in the air and tells Brogy they're going to bestow upon them the power of evil.
The devil's bargain. It's a classic trope, but Oda makes it so much worse. Emu lays out the terms of the contract right there. They draw another magic circle on the ground, this one glowing red under Brogy's feet. The price, Emu explains, is a portion of his lifespan.
In exchange, he gets a form of immortality and phenomenal strength. But there's a catch, a big one. The text in the magic circle glows, and Emu explains that by accepting this power, by being bound to them, Brogy will lose all reason and logic. He will obey only Emu. His personality, his honor, his 100-year duel, all of it will be erased, replaced by pure instinctual obedience.
And that line, that one line from Emu that explains everything, their entire worldview in a single sentence. Only demons are the proper form for life to take. That's the ideology. That's the core belief system of the person who rules the world. That this monstrous corruption, this loss of self, is perfection.
It's a complete rejection of freedom, of will, of dreams, of everything Luffy stands for. It's the ultimate form of control. Not just ruling people, but remaking them into obedient monsters who are grateful for their chains. It's the ultimate expression of the celestial dragon philosophy.
Super horrifying. Brogy just starts sinking into the ground, into this magic circle of red light. The other giants are trying to reach him, but they're held back by the nightmares. Emu lifts their hand, the circle rises from the ground like a pillar of light, and Brogy comes out the other side. And he's a monster. A ferocious demon, bigger than any of the other giants. Devil wings like emus sprout from his back, his eyes are glowing red, and he's covered in the same kind of arcane markings from the magic circle.
And his severed hand is back. Not reattached, it's just floating where it should be, a few inches from the stump of his wrist. And it's moving. It clenches into a fist, fully functional. It's body horror on a level I don't think we've ever seen in One Piece. It's a complete violation of nature.
It's awful. The other giants are screaming, they're calling his name, they want their captain back, but Demon Brogy just swats them away like flies, sending his own men flying. And he's not the only one. Dorry tries to attack Emu to stop it, and Emu just points a finger. The same process happens instantly. No bargain, no negotiation. Dorry is forcibly transformed into another giant demon Dorry.
And the first thing Demon Dorry does is point at Jarul, the old prince, and orders his own men, the ones who are still normal, to help him, to kill the heir of Elbaph. It's the ultimate act of betrayal, forced upon him by this demonic power.
But they resist, his own crew. They stand against him. They draw their weapons and say they'll die before they harm the prince. That loyalty, it's so strong, it's even fighting back against this demonic corruption. But it's not enough.
No, because Emu isn't finished. They have some kind of creature with them, a pet almost, a creature called a coral. Emu commands it to feed, and it starts swallowing other giants who were too close to their captains when they were transformed. And as it swallows them, they get turned into demons too.
So now it's a plague, a demonic infection spreading through the ranks of the giant warrior pirates. The ones who are still normal are forced to flee. They're not just fighting demons, they're fighting their own possessed friends and captains. It's a total rout, an emotional and physical collapse of their entire army.
And Emu is just standing there, floating above the chaos with this new army of demonic giants and Killingham's infinite nightmares, and they're pleased. They look upon their new creations and say the power of Elbaph is promising.
They're not even going to destroy it. That's the sickest part. After all this, Emu says they still need Elbaph, but it will be ruled by them now through their new demon kings. They want to see how useful these new giant demons will be in the coming war. They've just turned one of the strongest, most freedom-loving military forces in the world into their personal vanguard.
It's conquest by corruption. It is so much more sinister than a buster call. A buster call erases history. This corrupts it. It rewrites a nation's story with themselves as the god of this new monstrous chapter. The giants of Elbaph, symbols of honor and pride, are now the world government's new slave army.
And then the chapter ends on Jarul. His people are telling him to run, to flee, that the country is lost. But he just stands his ground, sword drawn, looking up at the two demonic versions of his old friends. A warrior never runs from a fight. Even with everything lost, the Prince of Elbaph stands tall. What a chapter. I need a minute. That was an absolute beatdown.
I think we all do. It's a lot to process. The fall of two characters we've known since they were just a gag on a prehistoric island. To see them turned into this, it's a deep-seated violation.
They were symbols of honor. Their duel was about pride, and Emu just stripped all of that away and turned them into puppets. It's like taking a beautifully built, perfectly tuned guitar and smashing it into pieces just to use the wood for a bonfire. It's a waste. It's an insult.
It's the ultimate violation of what Elbaph stands for. Before we get into what might happen next, let's check in on Oda's author comment. Perhaps it will offer some respite.
Please, we need something light. Okay, he says, I went to the house of Teru from Glay for Golden Week and had a blast in Hakodate. It was deliciously fun.
Good. I'm glad someone is having a deliciously fun time because we certainly are not.
No kidding. Seeing our boys from Little Garden get twisted like that is just... it's rough. We've been on this journey with them for 20 years. They helped us get past Enius Lobby. They're part of our story. If you're feeling as gutted as we are, drop a comment below and let us know how you're processing this. We could use the group therapy. All right, predictions for 1151. What do you think happens now?
Okay, I have a few thoughts. First, regarding my own situation in the chapter, my breakout attempt will partially succeed. I don't think I'll be able to join a fight, but I'll use my Hana powers to create a network of hands to sneak into the owl library. The goal won't be to escape, but to save a few crucial books before the fire consumes everything. It's a salvage mission, prioritizing the knowledge.
I love that. Pure Robin. Even in the middle of a demon apocalypse, the mission is to save the books. Okay, my first one is about the monster trio. They're going to emerge from the underworld, but they're not going to pop up in the middle of the main battlefield. They're going to come out somewhere else on Elbaph, maybe near the coast, totally confused. They'll see smoke, hear fighting, and have to piece together what happened, leading to this slow, horrifying reveal as they fight their way back to the center of the island.
A slow burn of dread. I can see that. My second prediction is about the nature of the transformation. The no blood from Brogy's wound is the key. This isn't a biological change, it's a magical contract. I predict it can be reversed, but not with Haki or brute force. It won't be Luffy punching the demon out of them. Someone, maybe Usopp, who idolizes them more than anyone, will have to figure out the loophole in the demonic contract. It will be broken by an act of profound honor or a memory so powerful it overrides Imu's control, snapping them out of it. It's a magic problem that needs a story-based solution.
Oh, a classic Usopp moment, lying his way out of a literal devil's bargain for his heroes. I am Captain Usopp, a master of demonic law, and I see a flaw in your contract's clause 7, subsection B. I can see it. Okay, my final prediction is for Gerald. He's not going to die. Just as Demon Dorry and Brogy are about to strike him down, one of the other named giants who wasn't turned, maybe Oimo or Kashi if they're there, will throw themselves in the way. A classic sacrificial play to save the spirit of their nation, buying just enough time for something or someone to intervene.
A final stand for the old guard of Elbaph. It feels fitting. So we're thinking a desperate salvage mission for knowledge, a delayed and dreadful arrival for the crew, a magical contract loophole that only a storyteller can exploit, and a heroic sacrifice to protect the symbol of their homeland.
It's going to be another heavy one. There's no way it's not. That's all the time we have for this week. This was Inherited Dawn. Join us next time as we hopefully see anyone, land a real punch on the king of the world. Stay super, everyone.